Hello, Chris Min. Can you hear me and see me? I'm back in StreamYards, and I still don't know how properly it works. I don't even know if it's broadcast to YouTube properly. But I thought I'd jump on and see what's going on, because we're all stuck at home forever and ever, it seems. I thought I'd give StreamYards another test, if you like. Let's see what happens. Hi, BZ Mama. So you did get a notification. That came through on YouTube, did it? I don't know how well. I think it works like that. I think it just links in with YouTube. I don't know. But I'm using a different microphone, so hopefully you can hear me okay. Hopefully my voice is clear-ish. Hopefully. So I'm just testing a few new bits. I have used StreamYards before, but not properly. Hi, Helen Rowley. I've got really weird light in this room as well. The blinds. The sun's killing me, so I had to shut the... Hi, Heidi Day. Nice shirt. Yeah, it's kind of like a half. The thing is, you see, when you work, I find when I'm having to work at home now, loud and clear, that's good. If I find working at home, if I get up and I don't get properly dressed, I can't work very well. I don't work efficiently at all. It's weird. So I'm trying to get into a routine. I don't know, you guys probably find it the same. Of if I get up and get properly dressed, if I get dressed half smart like I normally would for work, I seem to work better at home. It's weird. It's very weird, but it's what works for me. So how is everyone? How's everybody finding this crazy world that we live in at the moment? It's just like someone's just pressed the pause button on everything, isn't it? And we just have to kind of cope, I suppose, day by day, isn't it? It seems at the moment. It seems day by day. But Bee's mum was wearing jammies all day. Now that I'm teaching my kids. Yeah, I've forgotten now. I can also put your messages up, can't I, with StreamYards? Jammies all day. Well, there you go. I was saying to my wife earlier, we're all kind of moaning a little bit, aren't we, about how we need to stay at home, we can't do this and that. And then when we all have to go back to work, we'll probably be moaning that we can't do what we're doing now. So, yeah, us humans are never pleased. Oh, there you go. Helen Rowley's been at home for over a year. Hi, Guernsey girl. Helen Rowley's been at home for almost over a year. Makes no difference to her. Yeah, I'm just finding the... so obviously got my wife working at home. My daughter's just finished school, bless her. Exams were just kind of cancelled. She'd been working up towards her GCSEs. And then they just obviously stopped the GCSEs. And they're going to do it, I think it's on predicted grades. Hi, Irish Eyes. Yeah, it's getting scarier, isn't it? I mean, the deaths are going up and up in the UK. I don't know what it's like in the US. I know you're probably, I would say probably a week or so behind us in terms of from when you got the coronavirus hit you guys. But yeah, our death rate's just going up and up, and we're now at sort of 500 and something per day. Yeah, which is kind of scary. Hi, Kimberly. Kimberly's at lunch. I just wanted to stop in and say hello. I did warn them that I was going to be doing possibly some impromptu earlier lives just to know some of you guys are possibly stuck at home, isolated and stuff like that. So why don't we just get on here and have a chat? Breaks up my day as well. So there you go. This is the worry here from Helen Rowley. Kids and husband are driving me mad. All of a sudden, we're forced, aren't we, to live in each other's pockets 24/7. And it's something I touched on in the video. Actually, it must be difficult, in all honesty, if you're in a difficult relationship. Say, even if you're in a relationship where there's domestic abuse and stuff like that, it must be really hard if you're forced to stay at home all day. It must be a real problem. And people with mental health issues. People with mental health issues who maybe can't get the care that they were getting before. That must be a real problem. These are very real issues that this whole thing's causing, aren't they? Luckily, all the pharmacies are open where we are, so we haven't got problems getting prescriptions and stuff like that. So yeah, that's one thing. We're having to queue at the shops now. Don't know if you guys get that in the US, but it's like so many people allowed in at a time, and then you have to keep a certain distance. They're putting tape markers down on the shop floors, and you're only allowed so many people in. Which is fun. It takes some getting used to. Probably going to change us all, isn't it, for the future, really. It's going to be weird when this is all lifted and be like, oh, I can't stand next to you. I'm not used to standing next to people. Yeah, the US does have more cases, obviously, being the size of the country that you are. I've heard they're starting to stop people crossing states as well. Is that correct? I heard that earlier today from somebody. Stopping people crossing state lines and stuff like that. Obviously, it's different over here because we don't have states. It's basically England, Scotland, Wales, and then across the water's Ireland. But we don't really have any. There's no controls on the borders to Wales or Ireland, never anything like that. But yeah, I guess it's different for you guys, not that you know of. More sheds are needed. Hi, Helen. You got a great sense of humour, Helen, by the way. I love your videos. You're very spot on with your analysis of a certain person. If anyone hasn't seen Helen's channel, you want to go and check it out. But she's got a certain person down to a T, really. And I'm glad that there's a real big, a lot of you notice, there's a real big, I'll call it the good side, community on YouTube that's been around since, or kind of just after the Watts case came out, really. And I'll call it the good side, and it's all the channels that go against all of the ridiculous conspiracy channels and all of the hateful channels, and it's starting to gel back a bit together. I think a few channels are starting to. There's been a lot that's gone on between channels that were all fighting on the same side, as everyone knows. It all went a bit sour and everyone turned against each other and all got a bit stupid. But there are a lot of other newer channels like Helen's and stuff like that, which are now coming out as well. So it's great. It's great. And I think the good side is maybe starting to slightly push the bad side away a little bit. I think maybe where people are starting to realise that we're not all haters and trolls and horrible people, but we spotted it, they're starting to spot what a lot of people spot. I mean, we started. God, when did we start? Team Phoenix started in about March, I think, March of last year. So it's probably just over a year ago. That's when we started. Obviously, we were heavily against the conspirators at the beginning, and still are, but we don't focus on them as much because, well, we just didn't get any help. We didn't get any help from Google or YouTube, and it just seemed to send more people his way. So we kind of thought, stuff this is just not happening. But it's good that people are getting back together, and things seem to be shifting. So as we are coming up to nearly 2 years from that case, which was closed, was it November 2018, wasn't it? It was closed. Chris was sentenced and he confessed. You know, it's kind of a long time ago now. So yeah, I can't see anything ever changing on that case ever, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that's probably most people's opinion as well. But there you go. There you go. Some people obviously are far more talented than the FBI and CBI and Federal Police, and from their little place in England, they can obviously crack the case a lot better than they can. So yeah, so what you've all been up to? Apart from trying not to kill your husbands, and trying not to strangle your kids. Of course, homeschooling, that's another big thing, isn't it? High voices, homeschooling is another thing. As I say, luckily I don't have to worry about, because my daughter's just finished. She didn't actually get to do her GCSEs, but apparently they're going to do it on predicted grades. So yeah, she's okay. But yeah, it means we don't have to do any homeschooling. So how does the homeschooling work? I guess they've got stuff like Google Classrooms now and stuff like that, haven't they? You can do it from home. But I'll tell you what, the trouble I always used to find teaching my daughter was showing her the way to do stuff, because obviously stuff's changed so much, right? Since we used to teach at school, when we learned at school. So, you know, I'd try and help her, but inevitably she'd get frustrated because I'd be teaching her the wrong way. So, and that's the problem I found. Don't actually think I need these in anymore. That's the problem I found. But yeah, was the teaching methods as opposed to the actual teaching. It's really difficult. Really difficult. Yeah, I thought that voices when I said it actually about joking about strangling your kids. Could be seen in poor taste. I didn't mean it that way, of course. Yeah, it's been, well, last 3 months, isn't it? It's been endless. Children going missing, children being killed, children dying accidentally. It's just awful. Of course, we still got the Laurie Vallow woman, the 2 missing children. I've looked. That case is such a oh god, minefield of a case. I've started looking into it. I've got some of the timeline put out and some of the facts put out, but it's just taking so long. There's so many parts to that case. It's unbelievable. Obviously, you got about 3 dead bodies as well. It was just unreal. It's like a plot of a movie or something. It's just bizarre. But yeah, I think I don't know when she's due in court soon, but do you reckon she knows where they are? She's got to, right? Her and Chad, the husband, they've got to know where those kids are. I just hope they're still all right. Maybe they're hidden away in some cult somewhere. I don't know. Just hope they haven't done anything horrible to them. It's, we just lost faith in humanity at the moment. Hi, Tiffany. How are you? How are you finding lockdown? It's really hard not to talk about it, isn't it? Because we're all in it. I've even heard conspiracies coming out about the lockdown as well, about this whole virus. There's conspiracies already started about that. That it was an experiment that went wrong, government experiment that went wrong, and all kind of stuff like that. And I don't see anything like that. I mean, it's travelled the world. People are dying. There's no way they would put. I mean, basically, the whole world economy's gone on hold, isn't it? I can't think there's any they would do that in a million years for any reason at all. So I don't believe it. Yeah, RSI, you're right. Was supposed to end in July in her mind, in the cult that she's in. Proper wacko, right? I think her husband wrote doomsday scenario books, didn't he, or something? We used to hold a radio podcast or something to do with doomsday and the end of the world. And but yeah, it's just bizarre, isn't it? Because you've got Chad's, I think it was her previous husband, wasn't it? Sorry, Laurie's previous husband was shot by her brother. And then Chad's last wife mysteriously died at a young age for no apparent reason. I think her body's been exhumed. It came out that they bought a wedding ring a couple of weeks before she died, I believe. That's not suspect, is it? Oh, God. Yeah, it's just unreal. It's really, just when you think you know everything about it, then someone else comes up. So yeah, I'm trying to get the timeline down on that. And I want to put together a video about that case. I'd like to talk about that at some point. And Evelyn, of course, as well. I think the mother's due in court in May. May, I think it's May. Of course, she's currently on bond. She was caught lying to the police numerous times, right? And then her mother, the grandmother, has been arrested twice in the last few months for theft. The last thing that she did was she stole aggravated burglary from her father's property. Can you believe? She stole guns and tools and all sorts. And I think she was caught in possession of meth, so she's probably a meth head as well. Yeah, just a family of felons, as I call them, which they are. There's no doubt that it's all going to come out that at least one of them, probably more than, were involved in Little Evelyn. What happened to Little Evelyn, which is just a criminal. She's only 18 months old. And they found her in the grandfather's shed. I mean, what the hell's going on? What is going on for that sort of thing to happen? I don't know. Sickening. Absolutely sickening. Voices, I know a little bit more on Laurie. I believe she's scared and not talking. She has asked removal of the judge because he was the judge for the child custody case. Yeah, that's right. He was. I think she's actually had him removed, hasn't she? He was the judge for one of her child hearing cases, I think, for child custody. Because of that, I think in Idaho where she is, they can have judges removed for very little reason, apparently. And I think she has done that. I think two of the two other people dropped out as well for defence team. I think that's right. So I'm really not quite sure what's going on there. But she knows a hell of a lot more than what she is letting on, that woman. That's for sure. She's got to know where those kids are, right? Tell me, what mother would not know where their children are? You know, even if something bad has happened to them, they're going to know, right? A mother's going to know. Can't believe that she doesn't know. Are your banks offering payment holidays and the moratoriums on your loans, mortgages? Well, COVID goes on, our banks are being quite good about it. Yeah, they're giving, so in the UK, in England, they're giving 3-month mortgage loans, I believe it is, while this goes on, which I'm sure a lot of people will probably take up. And then I guess they'll add it on to the end of your mortgage. I know that they're helping out people with salaries, people that can't get paid. I think they're giving up to 80%, which they're also now including self-employed people, thank God, because that is extremely unfair, people that are self-employed. So to be fair, the government have been very helpful, I think. Yeah. I think this is doing Boris quite a lot of favours, to be honest. I think he's going to have a lot more supporters after this. I'm not a great Tory fan at all, but he seems to be doing quite well in how he's handling it. A lot of people argue he could have done things a little bit sooner, but I think you could probably say that about a lot of countries around the world, to be honest. Yeah, that's very true, Helen. Laurie does have a very detached, hard look. She was smiling in court, wasn't she? Yeah, it's definitely. Well, someone who thinks the world's going to end, and I don't know, she's thought some crazy stuff. I read about what she thought about her kids and stuff like that. Did she think one of her children was the second coming of Christ or something like that? Or was that Chad or one of them? Yeah. That's the thing with these cults, though, isn't it? They're just proper weird, aren't they? They really do get into what they're talking about, and you know, the kids just become collateral in the whole thing, don't they? The kids don't get a choice in how they want to live their life, what decisions they want to make. They just get shepherded into these cults and what have you. It's a bit like religion, isn't it? Some families will just shepherd their children into the religion they want them to. Which, you know, how unfair is that? You know, my daughter, we didn't even have my daughter christened because we wanted her to make her own choice when she's older what religion she wants to be, and if she wants to be religious. I'm personally not that. I'm not religious, to be honest. I was christened, but I'm not in any way religious. More of an atheist than anything, I would say. But yeah, I agree, and I think the government have stepped up. What about the US? Do you and people in the US? Do you think Trump's made good decisions? He was quite He was a little bit blasé in the beginning, I thought, when he said that he thought everything would be open again by Easter. First week in Easter, I was kind of thinking, I don't really think that's going to happen. No way. But I think he's realised now the seriousness of everything. And I think you're all going into lockdown, aren't you, state by state, pretty much how we are in the UK now. So basically in the UK now, all you've got open really are food shops, pharmacies, garages, post offices and banks open. I think they are. It's basically necessities and stuff like that. My daughter was absolutely horrified because McDonald's even shut. Although I think they're doing deliveries now where we are, so she's a little bit relieved about that. But yeah, and you're allowed out for, well, it's basically if your work's absolutely necessary. An hour a day exercise. No mingling of households, not allowed to have visitors or anything like that. and you just got no more than 2 people or your own little family unit. So it's pretty severe. It's pretty severe over here. In fact, it's so severe, I don't even know what day it is half the time. Does anyone else feel like that? Every day just kind of feels the same at the moment. It's kind of bizarre. Yeah, so it's different states, isn't it, in America? So I guess you have your own rules per state, which makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so you still got public. Oh yeah, we still got limited public transport actually in our area. I know, kind of in London and stuff, they're trying to lay on extra transport for people so they don't have to be so packed in together, because a lot of people have been complaining that everyone's still jumping on the trains, and of course they're all packed in like sardines, and they're not following the 6-foot social guidelines, which we're all supposed to be adhering to. But some people, I suppose, if they're key workers and they have to work in the centre of London, a lot of people have to get the train in to London because it costs so much to drive there or park there. So it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. Justin Bieber's even cancelled some concerts. Wow. That must be serious, right? Yes, that's what I thought about the US rules are set by the governor of each state. Yeah. Same with legal issues, isn't it? It's all state by state. You all have your own laws and stuff like that. It's a lot more complex than what we have over here, I've noticed. It's like in the UK, it's just kind of Britain, the rules of the law of England, Wales, and Ireland, really. In Scotland, we just have one set of rules, I think. And it might be slightly different, actually, for certain things, Scotland and Wales, but in general, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, Sue thought it was Wednesday. See, it's not just me. I thought it was Friday this morning. I was completely confused. Yeah, bizarre. Yeah, New York. You are London, aren't you? London's obviously been hit the most over here because it's the most densely populated, and I guess that's very similar in New York, isn't it? But yeah, I've been reading, you've been hit really badly. Even a lot of police officers, haven't they, have got it now. Yeah, it's just worrying. I think what's going to happen is going to get worse and worse, probably for the next few weeks. And then hopefully, I think what they're hoping is that, this lockdown that we now have got pretty much across the world now, right? I think they're hoping that will then start to break that incline, and it may start to kind of level off a little bit in the terms of numbers of people that are dying. I think that's what they're hoping for. But I don't know if anyone's looked at a world graph, but South Korea, kind of where everyone else's lines kind of like that, South Korea's is kind of down here, but it's all because they basically have tested so many people. They've done loads and loads of testing of people, which hasn't really happened over here. I think, so basically you've got all these national health workers, stuff like that are going into work. They don't really know if they've got it or not. And so, of course, they could be passing it on. And on the other flip side of that, you've got people that think they've got it and just stay at home, don't go into work, and they may not have it. But I know they're doing drive-through testing now for NHS workers. But that's something that South Korea were very hot on, was testing. And it shows in their graph, in the amount of deaths that they've got. It's very low compared to everyone else's. So yeah, everyone's internet's holding up okay then. Mine's fine, apart from the fact that I've got about 2 or 3 more laptops at home now for work and stuff like that. I've got 2 different laptops for work. So my Wi-Fi is getting a bit of a battering. Oh, this seems to be quite stable, so that's good. That's good. That's a nice message there, Tiffany. All our local butchers, greengrocers, sandwich shops are delivering for free. Everyone is helping everyone else, of what I've seen. Yeah, there has been a lot of great community spirit, I must admit. It brings out the worst in people, doesn't it? When, I think everywhere's had it, where everyone run out and bought toilet roll stupidly. Or the idiots, selfish idiots, would go out and stock up with everything. And leave no one else, leave nothing for the vulnerable and the old and the people that really need it. Thankfully, that's calmed down now because supermarkets have put limits on. But yeah, that was a real problem at the start. Wow, 675 new deaths overnight in New York. We had, I believe, yesterday in 24 hours, I think it was 563, something like that. I don't know if anyone knows what it was for the last 24 hours, but that was a big spike for the UK. They were expecting it, but it's a hell of a shock still when you see that figure. JD hates going to the supermarket. Go once a week for my family and my parents. Can't wait to get home, wipe everything down, including the groceries. Yeah, Tesco's have started putting hand sanitizers out now. I don't know if you've noticed. Out the front of their stores, and they are wiping down the trolleys and that. But I know what you mean. It's you just feel like you can catch it from anywhere now, don't you? Has anyone on here had it, or think they may have had it, or symptoms? I must admit, I haven't. I haven't had anything that I thought might be a cold or flu or anything like that. Touch wood. And I don't know of anyone who's had it in our area. I don't know of anyone that's had it. Touch wood. But I guess probably some people do. Because this is a weird thing, isn't it? Right? Some people don't even know, or they have very, very mild symptoms. So you don't really know if you've got it or not. And then in some people with, especially with underlying illnesses, lung illnesses and stuff, they get it real bad. I think what happens is the body attacks it so severely that it starts attacking itself. Starts attacking your lungs, and that's when people can't breathe. And the terrible thing is if someone gets ill or in hospital, you can't go and see them, or you've got very limited ways of, very limited time being able to see them. It's just terrible. And then funerals are very limited, only a certain amount of people, a certain amount of time. The whole thing is just so cruel. So very cruel. I see a lot of people that aren't social distancing still. I still think a lot of people don't really take it seriously. I think that's the trouble, which is a real shame. Yeah, clapping on the doorsteps tonight again. They're going to make it every Thursday, aren't they, I believe? Has that been worldwide? I don't know. In the UK, we've doing clapping for the carers at 8 p.m. every Thursday. So everyone goes out on their doorsteps and claps for the our NHS staff, healthcare workers, which is a really nice touch, and it was really good last week. And I must film it tonight for my wife, because my wife's at Samaritans tonight. So she wants me to film it for her because she hasn't been able to see it yet. She was at Samaritans last week as well. Sue had a hard time getting toilet paper. Yeah, that was our the trolls nicknamed us that, didn't they? So everybody suddenly wants toilet paper, right? Oh no, no one on Helen Street bothered. Helen, got to sort them out. Oh, knock them up and say, what are you doing? Most of what I saw was really positive. Our street was really good, and what I saw on TV. Oh, JD was off with mild symptoms. Don't know. That's the trouble, isn't it? You don't know if you had it. Whereas if you were tested, you would have known at least to stay off and stay away from people. That's the trouble, isn't it? I think they're going to start testing more people soon. I don't know, but apparently, according to Boris, that's the key to fighting back this virus, is to test people. Hi, True Helper. Good to see you, mate. No worries. I was just kind of trying out, I can't remember what it's called, StreamYard again, just to make sure it's all working. And I thought I'd come on and just chat to anyone who's stuck at home and has got nothing else better to do than listen to me. I'm very sorry to hear that, Melinda. There's lost an extended family member and a friend. They both died alone. Now that's awful. I'm so sorry to hear that. That's when it becomes very real, isn't it, to people? I think a lot of these people that aren't taking it seriously, if something like that happened to them, or they hear of stuff like that, and they really do need to start taking it seriously. Because so many people are dying. It's a fact. It's just a statistical fact. People are dying from it. People are saying, I've heard some people saying, it's just like the flu. It's just another flu. It's not, though, is it? Because people who have flu generally don't need ventilators to breathe, do they? That's how serious this is. People just die because they can't breathe without professional intervention. That's, the baddest bout of flu will not do that to you, I don't think. Statistics don't lie. But there you go. It's as I say, I don't think they would have turned off the world's economy for nothing either, to be honest. I mean, it's going to take such a long time for everything to recover. You think about it. I think this is probably going to go on, what do you reckon, 3 months at least, maybe more, before things even start to be going back to normal. So I think it's going to be a good 6 months before things are even anywhere near normal. And obviously the economy's then going to got to pick up again. Highly Serena. And all this money that they found from somewhere, are we all going to have to pay for it in the end? I don't know. Are they going to put taxes up? I don't know. It's just where they're going to find the money from. So in fact, I can't take the chance in going anywhere. I was in a coma last year and had total organ failure. All major organs were damaged and it could kill me if I get it. Oh yeah, that's a very real worry, isn't it? People that, like yourself, that have had severe health issues before or have got underlying issues, it's a massive, massive danger. Yeah, I can totally understand why you'd be absolutely paranoid about catching it. I think there's a lot of people in your position. There's people also like the healthcare workers, isn't it, who can't afford to catch it. because they're right there on the front line. If they catch it and potentially give it to other people, or they can't work, the effects are huge, aren't they? Everyone keep your head on a swivel. We'll beat them plus the hydroxychloroquine. Zithromax is showing it helps 100% within the first group. Oh, right, okay, wow. Because they're talking about a year, aren't they, for a proper vaccine? A year? That's a hell of a long time. Something like this going on. But no, I hadn't heard that. Is that a common medication, True Helper, or is that something that's widely available? One of those messages used for lupus. I have 2 friends that have to have it as they are on it long term. They can't get it. Ah, okay. It's not a drug I've heard of, I've got to be perfectly honest with you. I haven't heard of either of those drugs. Well, I can't pronounce them for one, but no, I've never heard of them for 2. But yeah, I guess they're working as hard as they can on finding a cure. Jesus Lives Bible says sins of the world. Look it up, you atheist. Oh, I don't think there's anything need to be rude over choice of religion, to be honest. That's the one thing I don't like about religion, is when it causes hate. Well, not hate, but just unrest like that. But I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, if you want to come up, if anyone wants to come up on panel, just let me know and I'll stick. It's a lot easier on StreamYard, actually. I can just put a link in the chat, and I think you can just click on the link. I think it's as simple as that. Yeah, you're quite welcome, True Helper. Let me just see if I can get the link, because I can just pop it in the chat and anyone can pop up then if they want to. If you want to just chat about anything, really. There's no strict theme or topic at the minute today, so even Helen, if Helen wants to come up, it's up to her. But yeah, anyone. Let me there we go. Here's the link. I think you just click on there and it'll probably ask you, do you want to use your camera? What microphone do you want to use? Blah, blah, blah. And then you should come up with me, I think. But yeah, that'd be cool. So yeah, it's getting staying lighter here now in the UK, which is good. We're now on British summertime, woohoo! Which means we get an extra hour of light at night, which is always good. I always feel so much better in the spring and summer. There's definitely something in seasonal affective disorder. Don't know if anyone else suffers with that, but my mood definitely in the winter and in the short days, my mood definitely goes down and then woo comes up in the spring. I do love springtime. And coming into summer. It can be voice only if you want it to be. What I think it does when you click on the link, it'll ask you, do you want to use your camera? Do you not want to use your camera? Do you want to use your microphone, which is kind of useful, obviously, but you don't know. Yeah, you don't have to use camera. No, I think it just uses a basic profile picture or just a blank one if you haven't got one set. But I think you come into the kind of back studio anyway when you come on, and then I might even be able to switch it off. I'm not sure. I'll get all of you up here one day eventually. Not together, obviously, but because I think you all deserve to speak. You know, you've all got. I'm sure you've all got your little stories, and I'm sure you've all got things that you want to get off your chest. I don't think it's that bad being an atheist, is it? Really? I said I'm kind of think of an atheist. I'm not totally against religion, but I'm not gonna turn around and pretend that I'm massively into religion. I think some people do. I think some people say they're very religious when they're not, and I'm not going to pretend to be that person. So hi Dorothy C, how are you? Hi Lady D, I don't know if I said hello already. We're just kind of chatting about nothing really. I was testing StreamYards, and I just thought that I'd just leave it running anyway. So if anyone wanted to come in and have a chat, because as we all know, we're all stuck in doors pretty much, not now permanently. So if anyone wanted to even come up on panel, you could be right beside me talking to everyone. Yeah, just join in. We're all a nice community here. You ain't got to worry about that. I don't know if there's a God. That's the thing. I don't know. I'd like to think there is, and I do think there is something there. I do, but we don't know. That's the thing. I don't. My mind's open because you don't know 100%. I mean, for someone to say that there's kind of a God, I mean, who is God? Is he male, female? I don't know. What I find hard is when I just see so much horrible evilness and bad in the world. When you see little babies and children dying of cancer and stuff, that's when I find it hard to have faith in God or some or you know, or have any real faith. It tests me then. Things like that happen. I think, well, how can things like that happen if there was a God? Why would he let things like that happen? But I don't really want to get into a heavy religious debate. But I have nothing against people that are religious. So I just sort of expect the same respect back, really. I don't like it when people try and force religion down people's throats. That's one thing that I don't like. But I think everyone should be able to have free choice, definitely. And yeah, I do think there's evil in the world for sure. Because we see it around us all the time, particularly when you're covering true crime. It really tests me sometimes, having to just sort of look into the cases and stuff like that we do, because they're just horrible. There's never a good end to the story on them. Well, I think, guys, we might have Helen. Let me just see. Hello. Oh, I might need headphones in actually, so I won't be able to hear you. Hang on a sec. Hello. Well, I think you might have your mic muted. Oh, she's gone. Okay, I'm sure she'll be back. Right, let's try again.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Well, you're breaking up a little bit. In fact, you're breaking up all over the place. Oh, it's a bit choppy.
You disappeared.
You're a bit choppy. It keeps breaking up.
You'll have to excuse me because I put AD's wrinkles on earlier, and I've still got them. on. That's why I weren't sure about camera.
You're making a new video, are you? Can you hear me?
I'm going to move. Oh. Oh, I'm just moving nearer my router, like the little thing said.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Can you hear me though? Oh, Helen's having problems. Let me let's take her out a second. Take her out till we got it sorted. Technical problems. The Wi-Fi's broke. The world Wi-Fi's broke. Right.
Hello.
Is that any better? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've moved in a different room because my Wi-Fi just cut out in my bedroom. So, and I was saying, you'll have to excuse, I drew wrinkles on my face for my last video for AD. So yeah, I've got that black on my face.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sure people understand. People know what you're about. So, yeah, I really like your sense of humour. Actually, your videos are really So you've appeared on the scene, haven't you? Like in the last month or so, is it?
I've only been making videos for maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So really new. And I used to watch AD, and I used to think he was all right till I really watched enough to know that he's not.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people have realised, really, isn't it? They'll watch for a short while, and then they'll cotton on that something. Hang on a minute, this is not.
Yeah, right. And then because every now and again his masks.
Oh, hang on. We've lost Helen. Oh, I think what we're going to have to do with Helen is take her video out. So it's just her voice. I think that's probably going to be the best thing. It should work all right then. Should work okay. There's probably so many people on the internet. That's a problem. Hello. Get there in a minute, guys. I don't usually use StreamYard. You've got what it's called. So I'm not convinced how great it is. Let's try again. Do you want to try turning your video off? See if that helps.
Oh, how do I do? I'm not very tech savvy.
Oh, actually, it's all right now. It's all right now, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, like you were saying, I think that's what most people realise, that you start watching him, get kind of quite compelled in it, and then kind of realise,
Mm.
hang on a minute, something's not quite right. I mean,
Yeah, he starts being like nasty to the subs, and then when some of the theories get a little bit wacky, and I'll tell you what really turned me off. Obviously, when the Rucheks asked him to stop, and he just didn't, because like dollar signs mean more than people's feelings to him. So
yeah, I think that's.
and he was rude to me as well, because I tried to say politely, I thought you were going to stop talking about the Rucheks, and he went off on one then, do you want me not to have free speech? Do you want me to shut up? And, as he does. So that's the worst thing you could do to me, because I'm always polite. So if you start ranting at me and getting like that, that's it. I'm like, you are wrong. I will prove you are wrong.
Yeah, there's no two-way street, is there? It's and that's what really frustrates me, because
Hi, Julie.
because we said for a while, and I'll still say now, I will go on his channel and debate all he wants, but he would never have it. He would never have somebody come on and do that, because he knows that he could be proved wrong on so many things. And that's what frustrates people, because he'll say, I'm up for debate, and I don't mind debate and all this kind of stuff. It's not true.
If you debate, you get blocked.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So
blocked
he's
on
just
Facebook, blocked on YouTube.
What, you dared to question something, did you?
Yeah, I had a mind of my own. Terrible, isn't it?
I know. I know. Well, they all insist that they do have minds of their own, but it's basically a whole army of people that all have the same narrative, isn't it? As that, NK and Jim and all his mates are all involved, and it's just ridiculous.
That woman, she had an affair with a married man. That's not a good thing to do. She did a lot of internet searching, and she was jealous of Shanann. Yeah. But there's absolutely zero evidence, never mind all this fake red car stuff and basement and voodoo magic or whatever it was. There's no evidence. The police have investigated properly, not just an amateur person on another continent looking at videos. They've done it properly, haven't they? So I feel sorry for her, because she's had to have a new identity and everything. But if they actually got hold of her, if somebody got hold of her, I think there'd be another murder. I think that's possible with the hatred that he's stirring up all the time. You can't do that, No,
it's not. Like you say, it's dangerous. It only takes one or two idiots out of that group to find her somehow, and one of them might think, that bitch, she killed those children, and I'm going to kill her.
Yeah.
It's quite possible. Let's be honest.
Definitely. I've had folks say to me, I know where you live online and things like that, the trolley people. I call him his little defending elves, because he just whips them up, and then they're right, we're going to fight for it. He won't get his hands dirty himself.
No.
He'll send people. And I've had stick off them, definitely. I leave all the bad comments up. I know a lot of people say to me, just block them, delete the comments, but I'm very much about being honest. I'm probably too honest. I don't hide my name. I don't hide the town I live in. And I don't hide the negative comments that I make. They're still all up there, because I think people need both sides to make their minds up about things,
Yeah. absolutely, and it's
Maybe
only
I'm
fair.
stupid and I'll end up dead in a gutter one day, but that's what I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. No, let people show who they really are. That's
Yeah.
probably the best way. Someone was saying there, like, he was saying about the green screen. He's now sort of said, "Oh, it's just a scenario that we run by."
Yeah.
It's like, well, there could be a scenario where aliens came down and shot them. Are you going to go with
Yeah.
that scenario? Where do you draw the line? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a dumb scenario. It
Yeah,
was like
exactly.
one of those. I mean, that's why Frankie did message me, Frankie Ruchek, and he said he was laughing at my red car video, and he said, "I've been telling my dad he should do one of those videos, because they were both laughing about it." And then obviously Frank did do a video, and the little green screen was in it, and I felt really bad because he got so much grief. People saying he was drunk and just being really horrible. And I just think, do you not know that the man lost his daughter, his grandchildren? Half his family has been wiped out, and you're being so nasty to him.
Exactly. I mean, I think
Don't get
people
it.
understand that they've been going through, tormenting grief this whole time, and people need to
Mm,
appreciate that. I think, and
mm.
why shouldn't they go on social media and try and defend their daughter? That's another one that gets
Yeah,
me. They say, "Oh,
yeah.
they shouldn't be on there. Why are they on there looking
But
for it?"
Eddie's oh, well, if they come and talk to me, why should they? You're a man in another country. You're not a relative. You're not. They could choose who they want to speak to. Why on earth would they choose to speak to Eddie after how disrespectful he's been? It's You just wouldn't. But he's like, oh, they've been on Dr. Phil, and but it's not the same as Dr. Phil is a serious medical man who's got medical training in trauma and things like that.
Mm.
Eddie's an ex-barman and
Mm.
gambler. He's
Yeah,
he's a Tim Pop 2-bit YouTube person. So
exactly,
why would they want to go and talk to him?
exactly. Yeah, well, a professional in CCTV analysis. I think he likes to refer to himself as. Um, yeah, I don't get it. I
Yeah, the
really
wasp
don't.
got me. Have you seen the wasp
I
one?
haven't.
That's
No, someone mentioned that in chat.
Oh
What's
my
this all about?
days. There's a wasp on the bed, and there's a wasp swatter with a blue glove around it. So why would you wear gloves to swat a wasp? And that apparently that's proof that NK was there in the basement or something. But
Oh
it's just a
God,
wasp.
and gloves. Surely, a lot of people. Surely, wasn't he? He used to do a lot of work on the mechanics, didn't he, Chris? So it's not odd that they would have a pair of blue gloves or something.
Well,
Um,
didn't Shanann have a bit of OCD as well?
yeah,
So
yeah,
she liked to clean a lot.
mm,
And women who like to clean a lot generally have gloves, don't they?
yeah, exactly.
Plus, he'd been cooking chicken on a barbecue. Maybe he's one of those people that like to wear gloves to handle raw chicken. I don't know. But
Yeah,
to me, there's a wasp.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's they managed to create stories out of nothing, innit? And
Raping the barrel now, running out of
yeah,
running out
down
of things to talk about.
down to the wasps. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the wasp
ridiculous.
did it. That's it. She put a crystal spell, witchcraft stuff on the wasp. The wasp did it.
The wasp did it with the wasp swatter. I mean, they say things there about the fridge. Why did he take the temperature of the fridge? And then you kind of look into it a bit, and you think,
Yeah,
well, he
like
was
it's a
very
secret
into,
code.
yeah. It's like, well, he was heavily into nutrients and his diet and stuff, wasn't he? And he was looking
Yeah,
at blueberries, and he's probably just looking at the temperature of the fridge, best temperature to store blueberries at, or something like that for his
yeah.
for his
Oh, his
diet,
chicken.
for his
It might
chicken.
have
Yeah,
even said to, it might have even said to NK that chicken's been in there a couple of days, and she might have said, well, as long as your fridge temperature's okay, you'll be fine. It just that makes more sense to me as a theory than it's a
yeah,
secret code.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Why have a
Unfortunately,
secret
it's
code when you speak to someone on the phone anyway?
exactly, yeah. And like one of my subs said, it's like if you're going to do this horrendous crime, you're not going to have a 111-minute phone call on the night before, are you? That wouldn't look
No.
suspicious, would it? I
To
mean,
me, that was their last bit of alone time before his wife
yeah,
got back.
yeah, of
So,
course, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I feel
man.
exactly the same. But well, it's just, I mean, how long can you keep rinsing and rinsing this case? I don't know, but I
That's
think that
it.
the tide's slowly starting to turn. I think for the good side. I think.
I think so. His patron viewers are dropping. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, but it's like I know his patron viewers are going down, and that's getting him quite angry. And there's things to show that he's on the decline. Definite. It's on definite. I mean, he's still raking it in, but it's not going up like it was.
No.
I think more people are becoming aware of what he's like. I suppose the weirder the theories go, hopefully more people will realise that he's not to be taken seriously. Time will tell. That's my favourite saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Or as
And
my grandma used to say, it'll all come out in wash.
yeah, we'll come out in wash. Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the ones was I just thought it was unbelievable. Was I don't know if you know that one, but the Twister mat. Do you remember that one? He said it was a body
Yeah.
bag. I mean, that was at the point I thought, come on, people, surely, wake up, please.
Yeah. Well,
But they
now
didn't.
they're saying that Shanann took that picture. Why would Shanann take that picture, upload it on her own phone, and say, "Look what Chris sent me"? I don't.
Don't
What
make
would be the
sense.
reasoning? It doesn't make sense. No,
No.
none of it. None of what he says makes sense if you actually, kind of look past his
No.
words.
Exactly. When you look past the words and at the actual facts, and you put a bit of common sense to it, it's a bit like they were saying NK stalked Shanann because she looked her up in whatever was it 2017.
Well, as a woman, I'd say that's common mistress. I'm not a mistress, but I'd say that's common mistress behaviour because it's like know the enemy or know the rival. And I think that's human nature, really, for her to kind of suss out her rival. So I won't call it stalk.
Yeah, there's even questions though whether it was wasn't it was on a SIM card that wasn't even her SIM card at that time. But also, even then, it's like, well, if someone's going to stalk someone, surely there would be a pattern of that person looking up that person. It wouldn't just be one occasion a year ago and then nothing. That seems a bit strange to me. So
yeah. I think it's just a human nature thing to check out the background of someone if you like them. I think that's really common behaviour, and she did really like him, like looking up wedding dresses. That. I mean, it had already been a few weeks, and she's looking up wedding dresses, so she obviously liked him and had this kind of romantic vision in her head that it was all gonna work out really well.
Yeah, I think she was a bit immature, and to be honest, and
Yeah, it is a bit previous, that, isn't it?
yeah, and the fact that she looked at Amber Fry, and you think, well, who's Amber Fry? Of course, she was someone who was totally innocent.
I don't know who Amber Fry is. This is
Yeah,
a new name. Who's Amber Fry?
she was mistress. Chap's name's gone off my
Oh,
head.
of the chap who, yeah,
Someone in chat help me.
another
I'm
chap who
afraid.
murdered his wife.
Yeah.
But she was totally unaware of it.
Yeah, she
And she
was
wrote a book.
totally unaware.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I get what you mean now.
why is she looking up someone who's totally innocent if she's guilty of anything? Yeah, again, to me that doesn't make sense. Again, it just kind of says to me she obviously knew that she hadn't done anything. But there you go. I don't
The
think
only thing she'd done is be unfair. Well, she wasn't even unfaithful. Chris was. But throughout history, if you are the Scarlet Woman, the Jezebel, the marriage wrecker, you know, the chap don't get trouble for it. The woman does.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way. Just a moral anger against her.
Yeah, she'll be hated for a long time. Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't going to ever like her.
No.
I mean, she did some, the way she lied and said things weren't very nice at all. But it's she didn't murder anyone, in my opinion. She didn't.
No.
There's nothing there to say that she did. So I think
No.
people just need to realise that now. It's just people need to realise that
Yeah.
they wouldn't have just protected her for no reason. They wouldn't have just let her go.
Just accept the confession for what it is. It probably, every single detail won't be correct because Chris Watts doesn't want to make him. When people confess things, they miss little details out because even though they've killed women and children, they still think other little details might make them look bad. So they try to put a kind of a little spin on it. So we probably will never get all the details exactly, but he's confessed to the main things. He showed them where the bodies were, so it's him. It's obvious, really.
Yeah. Well, yeah, to most people, I think it is. Yeah, but there you go. It's one of those things, Some of these people, I just don't think even if you showed them, a clear CCTV video of NK walking out, Chris Watts walking out the house, and it was clearly Betty driving off. I still think they refuse to believe it. They would just.
Oh, she'd have gone out the back way then, won't she? And
yeah, she'd have gone out the back,
or she'll have met him on the corner, or
exactly, yeah. I think it's gone so far that they'd never admit that they're wrong. Now,
no,
the dark side. So there you go. But yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. That's nice
thank you for meeting you.
Yeah. I'll keep an eye on your videos.
Yeah, that'd be good. I was surprised that you knew who I was, actually. It's only been a fortnight.
Yeah. Get known pretty quick in this community. There's like as I say, we call it the kind of the good side, if you like, the pro Rosette community, the anti-conspiracy community. And we tend to pick up pretty quick when new channels appear and stuff like that. So it's nice to see other people that have the same opinion as us, and we're not all crazy and horrible holes and traitors, are we? Haters and trolls.
No. I mean, I have been called crazy, but in a nice way.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, what is your channel? Is it just your name?
Yeah, I'm so original.
You can always change it.
I just joined YouTube and I had no intention of posting anything. I just liked looking at people squeezing spots and things like that. That's what I used to do. And then obviously I've started now, but I'm not really one for hiding behind a mask or giving myself different identities. What you see is what you get, really.
Yeah. I think people appreciate that more, really, when you show your face and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, so bat away any trolls, or like you say, just let them put their stupid comments. Because often they don't
doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
It's water off the duck's back to me.
Exactly. Often they don't have a proper argument anyway. It's just insults or whatever.
No.
So.
Yeah. But I got told yesterday that I owed $5,000 to Amazon. And I'm like, I must have explained myself to the woman about 4 times. She still wasn't getting it. So I said, please just go Google Kindle Direct Publishing and you'll see you know. But she wouldn't have it, and I mean, if
Really?
I knew it cost $5,000 to publish a book, I wouldn't have done it because I haven't got that kind of cash. So I don't know where she got that from, but there's all kinds of like misinformation and things, but I'm just dead open, so
People like to start. You'll probably find you've probably found this already that people like to start digging into you, what they can find out about you and stuff like that.
they can seriously go for it because I tell them everything.
Well, there you go then.
I say everything about myself, about you know, that I've had depression and anxiety, that I've had things happen in my life, like I've had a son killed, and I just share it with anyone. I don't give a monkeys. So they can dig as much as they want, you know. Oh, just ask me direct, I'll tell them.
No, there you go then. Can't
I've
say more
nothing
than
to
that, can you?
hide.
No, best way to be, really, I think.
Yeah.
But well, thanks for coming on. Well, people can find your channel. It's is it Helen Schrifter? Schrifter? How'd you spell your
Chaffer.
surname? How'd you
Chaffer.
spell that? Chaffer. How'd you spell that?
CHAFFER.
There you go, guys. Sure, they'll find you. Some of them probably know your channel already, I'd imagine.
I recognised a few names in your live chat.
Yeah.
Girl, and she's really nice.
Yeah. There is a really nice community of people, actually.
They're
on
so
YouTube.
positive and encouraging. You know, really nice people. Yeah. Been impressed by that.
Well, the normal people. So
I suppose,
yeah. Yeah.
I don't get out much, so.
Wow, none of us can at the moment, so don't worry about it. But, no, we enjoy the rest of your day anyway. Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Okay, you're very welcome, and good to meet you.
You too. Right. Yeah. Okay, see you later. Bye. Well, that was nice, guys, wasn't it? So yeah, so it's Helen Schaffer. She aka the Bed Detective, I believe. I'm just trying to find her name. I'm sure she'll pop in the chat in a minute. If not, I'll put it under the video when I finish. I saw it is Winston's Revenge was in here just now. He's still here. Winston's Revenge. Wonder if Winston's Revenge would like to come up on panel. I believe Winston's Revenge has got his own channel. There's murmurs that it's actually somebody's son, but I don't know. I don't know if that's true. If it's a certain person's son or not, defending his father's honor, I don't know. But yeah, Helen. Winston's Revenge hates Helen. Oh dear. He probably hates quite a few of us then, doesn't he? It's quite a good name, Winston's Revenge. I'll give him that. It's quite a funny name. But what's the channel like over there, Winston's Revenge? I had a little look, but I didn't look at the comments or anything like that. Oh, True Helper's going to try coming up in 1 second. No, I'd love them to come on here. Someone like that. Someone who believes in all of these conspiracies. I'd love them to come up and have a proper debate, not some one-sided debate. A proper debate. AD Spawn's boyfriend. Yeah, you're on his list, Helen. That's the thing. You will be on his list if you start. We got plenty of copyright strikes. We did back in the day. We even made little. Tracy used to be part of the channel. She used to make the cutest cartoons about him, and he even struck them. We weren't even allowed to put them up. But they got a lot better YouTube. They don't allow false copyrights. You can counterclaim copyright strikes, as I believe Lex has done. And it's up to them to then prove that they want to take you to court. So, you know, how many people are really going to do that? Are going to take someone to court over a stupid YouTube video? I can't imagine many will. So people need to stop doing that, you know, putting in bogus copyright strikes. Of course, I don't know if anyone knows, but it kind of, if you put 3 in at once, it will give someone 3 strikes and take their kind of channel down, which is what happened to Lex. So that was nice, wasn't it, for certain creators to do that. But you can counterclaim, and hopefully Lex is going to win that counterclaim, and she'll get her channel restored. Yeah, MK was involved. She was definitely involved in being a mistress and being involved with a woman that she knew was married and a man that she knew was married. The thing is, you've got to make a connection from there to her being an accomplice to murder. That's the thing. And that is a massive chasm to jump. And I think that's where people are getting a little bit caught up. You know, the fact that she was a Jezebel or whatever doesn't make her a murderer. However you hate her and however nasty and immoral that was, there's no solution for that in a court of law. In a judicial system, you're not going to get a judicial answer to that, unfortunately. But that's what people want because of her involvement. You know, because Shanann was such a lovely woman. She has such a lovely family and beautiful children. It makes it all the more heart-wrenching that someone like her would have come in and ruined that. But, as again, like I say, that does not make her an accomplice to murder. Chris took that decision to make that evil decision to do what he did to his family. You know, and anything bar him suddenly turning around and saying, look, she was involved. I've got proof that she was involved. Which, why would he not say that now? Why would he just be sat in prison for the rest of his life, knowing he's in prison for the rest of his life, and not say anything? Why? It just doesn't make sense, does it? You know, he tried to blame Shanann for it, which of course we all knew was just complete lies and BS. And so why would he not try and pin it on NK if he could? Because he can't. He knows he can't. And that's why he's never gonna. He would have talked by now. Why is he waiting? Why do people think that he's suddenly in their 6 months a year going to turn around and say, well, yeah, do you know what? She did help me. You know, and even now, who would believe him anyway? You know, the facts aren't there. The evidence is not there. You know, that's it. End of story. Until there is actual factual evidence that turns up, I don't know where it would turn up from, and nothing's going to ever change. That case was closed November 2018 when Chris pled guilty and he was sentenced. And I'm certain in my mind that she was fully investigated. I'll get fed up of saying it, to be honest. I mean, most people must know, surely, the FBI and CBI aren't just going to let her walk out without fully investigating her. I've no doubt in my mind they've got her full cell phone records, including exactly which towers and everything that her phone hit the day before, the day after, on the day. You know, people say she turned up for work late. How do they know that? How does people know she turned up for work late? No one knows what time she turned up for work, do they? I don't know. There's nothing anywhere to say that. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know. The case just gets me. It just rolls me up when people keep going on about this. They're fighting for justice for Shanann. I just think that's complete. That's an easy win in it for them to say that. Yeah, definitely. Shanann, the children were victims, absolutely. Well, not just them, the whole families, everybody involved. Friends, family, they're all victims. When a horrendous crime like that happens, victims go on and on. Yeah, that's a good question, Linda. Why is everything a conspiracy? There are people, aren't there, that everything has to be a conspiracy. I believe there are certain things that go on in the world that maybe we don't know about, but my thought process is not to always jump to a conspiracy when something like that happens. It's like this virus, some people are saying that maybe it was an experiment that went wrong or something like that. Why would they do that? Why would it spread the world like it has? Why? Some people say the Chinese government created it. I don't know. My mind just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Right, I've been on for nearly an hour and a half, guys. I think I'm going to jump off. True Helper, are you okay if you come on next time? I need to. Oh, he's actually here. Hang on, I'm going to bring him on. He's here. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
Beautiful. It figures right as I went to log on, my power went out.
Oh, no. It's always the way. It's like the last live I tried to do. My Windows 10 decided to do a massive update just before I started. I was like, oh, great.
Oh, I've had that happen too before. It's been insane. But anything to interrupt us. So I heard you were getting ready to hop off, and I apologize. But
No, that's fine.
I have a pretty quick message. Well, a couple of messages. First of all, on the whole conspiracy theory stuff that gets put out there all the time. It doesn't really matter what we say or do. People are just going to go and gravitate towards certain theories, and that's fine. It's, a free country as far as the USA goes, and I'm sure you guys have all of your rights, freedoms, and liberties there. However, when a family directly asks you to stop doing things and you still carry forward, that's where I get a little upset. So,
yeah, absolutely.
The easiest thing we can do is tune out, but I understand that there are those that, want to put his lies and other people's lies and stuff out there. And I get that because for a long time I had followed a certain individual and started calling him out when I heard things about, working for lettered agencies and all that stuff. And then it turned out that he wasn't, but then he was again. And it just, I don't know. It's like my mom always used to say, if you let somebody talk on long enough, you usually get to the bottom of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Let someone keep talking and that they'll show themselves. I think that's the way it works. But yeah, I don't. I sometimes look at conspiracies and they look quite compelling and stuff, but my mind generally doesn't tend to work that way. But like you say, it doesn't do any harm most of the time. But there are obviously, things like murder cases and obviously the Watts case where it's like, hang on a minute, this is really having a massive negative, damaging effect on the family involved. So stop doing it. Yeah, like you say, you've been asked by the family to stop doing it. Why are you still carrying on? They're closer to the case than anyone. surely they know a million times more than what you know.
Exactly. And I've found more than a few channels out there that have gone on about law enforcement and also about these alternate ideas and things that they supposedly haven't investigated. Well, and I don't mean anything, I don't mean any disrespect to any other country, but here in the United States, we have some of the most premier, proud, intelligent, and highly technically advanced agencies in the world. In the world, there's a reason why more than a few of our agencies are spread out in many countries all around the world. It's because of how they operate and how they're so effective at getting to the bottom of things. But when people start to throw stones, especially against our FBI and other agencies, it's laughable at best, because people who operate from, armchairs and all that good stuff, or lounges or couches or whoever they may be, you're going to start throwing stones against some of these district attorneys and whatnot that have more experience in their pinky than they do their whole families. And that's when it really, it does chap my butt a bit. But that's why typically with so many different things going on, I find that I can get involved in plenty of other areas, especially with finding or helping to find missing persons. And, there's so many things that people can be involved in and, just dedicate their time towards. But we've already seen time and time again when families, and not just the Rusaks, but many others have asked others on YouTube and Facebook and a lot of these other social media platforms to stop. And then when they come back with the defense, well, they don't have to tune in or they can tune out. That's when you know that you're not going to make any headway with those types. So it's easier for them to, unfortunately, try to tune them out as much as possible. But in this day and age, when everybody has a cell phone and everybody is connected in some way, shape, or form, it is very, very hard to just sit in a corner and close your ears up and hope that you're never going to hear anything. So I really do feel bad for all these families out there that have to put up with that level of disrespect. And it says a lot about the character of those that would desecrate the memory of others and or try to cast these baseless accusations against some of our premier law enforcement agencies that have done their due diligence and looked into many different people that were involved. And if they brought it to trial and the judge went ahead and passed what he did, he handed down the judgment that they do, that's it. That's the end all be all. It's very rare that any case gets reopened from new evidence against somebody else. It's very, very rare. But it has happened. But in this case, and concerning the whole Watts thing, I think it's done. I really do. I agree with you and many others, and Helen included. Yeah, was she guilty of not having much common sense or really having a decent a moral compass to her at the time? Sure, absolutely. But to suggest that she was not only involved, but that she was there and all that, I mean, come on. It's really laughable. It really is.
It is really, yeah. And they are two totally different things, aren't they? It's like trying to get a judgment in court for being immorally wrong, isn't it? It's just they're two different things. It's just not gonna happen. Like you agree, as this case is closed, it's never gonna change. Nothing's ever gonna change on it. The years are just gonna go by, and slowly, I think people are gonna realize, they've got to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, there's always going to be a market for those out there that are either not educated or who don't have as much insight or understanding of how the legal system works, especially those that are overseas and that are in separate countries outside of the United States. So I can see why his numbers, and many others for that matter, why their numbers and their viewer rate is what it is, and it really, again, that's where as an individual, you have to ask yourself, are you willing to keep your blood pressure elevated and keep getting involved? Or, and there are those out there that can take these kinds of things head on and it doesn't really faze them much. And to them, God bless them. I give them all the credit in the world. But I'm the type of person where it's just like why I tuned out a lot of the mainstream media many, many moons ago, because, you know, after you hear one too many lies and one too many conspiracy theories, you can't take anymore. And frankly, that stress can alter and affect your day-to-day life. And before you know it, then you're one of those that needs to be medicated, or you have to do things to try to, you know, get all the stress off your back. And I'm just not one of those types. So, I mean, I was following that Lexi person for a while, and God bless her too. You know, she's taken a lot of the things that were said head on, and still having the ability to, you know, persevere and rise above all of the strikes and all of the naysaying. Because I also agree with something else you said earlier, which I've actually experienced firsthand with some of the people that follow a certain channel going after, you know, innocent channels that literally just use some of their content and just to point out some of the hypocrisy and some of the just the flat out baseless accusations and allegations that they make, especially towards the law enforcement, you know, agencies. And you know, then they get attacked. It's like they're like a wolf pack. They're ravenous, and they go after these people. And yeah, it's sad, but you know what? Keep up the good fight, because again, at the end of the day, this still is just social media, and that's why you have to have a decently thick skin to you in order to stay on it. Because yeah, I'm sure I've actually seen you experience it time and time again, where you have somebody come in that tries to get everybody all fired up, and they sit there and write rude comments, or they knowingly write a comment that everybody's going to latch their teeth onto, and all of a sudden you have an otherwise normally nice, happy, and loving chat room all of a sudden blows up into name calling and just all those kinds of. That's why
I think there's definitely a lot of people that that thrive off the drama on YouTube. I think they thrive off of going from channel to channel and stirring up, you know, hatred and trouble. And they definitely do get off on that kind of thing. I've noticed that a lot since I've been on YouTube. You know, you'll see certain people dropping comments around the community, and you can tell that they're just trying to cause problems. They're trying to cause drama to keep things going. And why can't they just get on with their life? I don't know. If you've got a strong point against something, fair enough. But oftentimes it's just gossip and stupid stuff, you know.
I know. That's something else that really gets on my nerves too. You know, there are plenty of channels out there that they know what they do every single day, and they will sit there and intentionally either use clickbait, or they'll try to entice people by saying, you know, see or click here and learn how the case was wrong, or how, you know, law enforcement got it wrong. Or, you know, I've seen so many different titles by so many different creators. And again, unfortunately, when you deal with these social media platforms, you know, though they have algorithms and all that kind of stuff, it really is kind of hard to moderate and to keep an eye out on all these different channels that do some of these just sneaky, down low, evil things at times, you know, especially those that go directly after families. But, you know, I did want to say something before I leave here about this whole cerveza bug, as I like to refer to it as, because as we've found all over YouTube and whatnot, if you actually use the name of it, especially here within the States, usually your video will automatically get demonetized, or you'll get, you know, you'll have unwanted heat thrown your way.
Okay.
But, you know, I've said it from the start of this. We started learning a lot back in December of last year about this, and it's like anything else. Yes, it is a novel bug. There are no known vaccines and all that yet. However, I strongly feel that if people just keep a good sense of self, practice decent personal hygiene, and do like you would do with your own children as they go to school every day, or, well, in the past, they go to school every day. Lord knows all of our schools are closed around here. But, you know, if you just have a good, you know, understanding of what's going on, and the more that you educate yourself about how to combat these types of sicknesses and illnesses, you know, you know, you'll learn how to take this in and be a lot more calm about it. Because I have fielded so many emails and so many personal questions that have come my way via phone calls and text and all that. And, you know, I don't understand why it's being made as big a deal as it is when you take into consideration, if you look at the past 10 years of CDC results and a lot of other results from all around the world, from the WHO and everyone included. Last year alone, was it 35.5 million people that got sick. There was 34,500 supposedly it passed, and 137 children. Now, this came on strong, and obviously it's highly communicable, or it's highly, you can get infected quite easy. But the numbers really do pale in comparison. And the head of Trump's team, we were keeping our eye out on the New England Journal of Medicine, where a lot of doctors write reviews and all of that. And, back in early March, he had even wrote that this was a mild to severe type of flu. And, then when you see him up on the TV and he's saying something way different than what he himself has published, and it still is there. It's anybody can go to the New England Journal of Medicine and still see the article that he had posted there. And it's, mind you, it's wrote directly by him. They don't allow anybody who's not a doctor or anybody who's not, certified in one way, shape, or form to have access to that type of form. But, with a lot of the other mainstream type of stuff, there's been just so many things that we have caught them out there, saying certain things that just, I don't know. It gets me very upset at times, because all of the panic that has been instilled in the everyday American, in the everyday population all around the world, it's tremendous. It is unbelievable. And don't get me wrong, I truly respect it. I know that it's a novel bug, as I've said before, and I know its capabilities. I really do. But so far, and just within our group, we have a whole bunch of doctors, we have a whole bunch of scientists, and we even have a few epidemiologists. And we have been looking at this from the start. And so far, most of the findings, not all of them, but with most of them, a lot of the people that have been expiring because of this new bug have been 55 and older, and or somebody who was already had a predisposition to certain illnesses, or who has an underlying condition, or excuse me, as I meant to say, a pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
Those with asthma, those with compromised immune systems, say even those that had suffered, some type of cancer and had chemo done, and thus, well, as most know, chemo lowers and literally just about fries your immune system. And so there was a bulk of the people that were unfortunately passing away. And again, my heart goes out to all of those that have lost somebody to this. But however, all these things that I hear all the time about it being airborne, and, if you even look at somebody wrong, or if you're, hundreds of feet downwind, you're going to get it, and then something bad's going to happen. It's just, again, get educated, look into these things while we have the resources to do so, like Google. And, I would suggest, though, that you stay away from a lot of the mainstream media, and you do stay away from a lot of the different YouTube channels that are sowing fear into the population. Use your common sense. Know again that yes, this is a novel bug. It's something that we've never seen before, but this has happened throughout the history of humanity. Okay, you go back, you look at the early days of the Spanish flu, you get into Ebola, SARS, all these types of different illnesses. Okay, they've come on strong, and some are still around. HIV, good classic example. But there are constant upgrades and new innovations in medicine and medical care. So we are all together, we're learning how to rise above this, and together, again, getting educated and knowing that this too, like everything else, will pass. It's going to help ease your mind. I've dealt with so many people that are so upset, and some literally crying to me at times, and so nervous and worried. There are a lot of resources. I'm not sure about where you are, Chris, but I do know within the United States, there are many, 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 many different ways that you can get help. Calling your local government, calling your local town hall, or wherever you live. I know every county is set up a little bit differently, but they're like in Pennsylvania, I know there's star 211. You get help by talking to people, and they have lists of resources that you can access. And I know a lot of people are put out of work right now, and it's still going to take a couple to a few weeks for these monies that the government has allocated and passed within this new stimulus package to get into the pockets of those that are unemployed right now. But it will happen. It will happen. Unemployment's still open. And again, I'm not sure about where you live, Chris, but here in the United States, there still are just so many resources. And I just wanted to put it out there that, this is not an end all be all. And I promise you, this is not the rapture. This is not some big old hidden conspiracy theory where they're going to take us all out, or it's something concerning 5G and all that other stuff. This is just a period of time where we're dealing with something that's new. And I'm not naive. I know there are some trying to capitalize off of this situation, but ultimately, together, we will get through this. I promise you that.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I think that there has been, a certain element of panic, which in part is kind of made by the people. Over here, it was kind of made by the people because everyone went out panic buying, and it just caused a shortage of stupid things like toilet roll and certain food items. And I think that instilled a certain amount of panic in people. And also maybe the government initially, in the messages they were putting out. But I think if people just remain sensible, they remain calm, I think things will settle down. I think people will adjust. I think they'll adapt to this way of life and how we have to live at the moment. And like you say, the advances in medicine and all of that, things may come sooner than what we all think.
Oh, absolutely. Especially within the United States here, the moment that our president had declared a national emergency, that lifted so much red tape and so many regulations for our big pharma to look into these vaccines and the vaccine trials and to look into other things, and raising a lot of the red tape against the FDA as well. For example, when we started finding out that the hydroxychloroquine and the Zithromax combo, there were a lot of that were naysaying it and saying, oh, no, it's never been a regulated or an identified or an approved drug. That's absolutely absurd. It was actually used back, I believe it was I'm almost positive it was after the Vietnam War. It could have even been earlier than that, but it was hydroxychloroquine was actually used as a malaria drug, or a drug to help treat the effects of malaria. And as it turns out, I believe it's also good for lupus and a few other things as well. But it is a recognized FDA approved medication that is available, and I'm sure that I believe New York was going to do a clinical trial of it. I believe there were a few others that were going to as well, just to see what the results would be when they would use it against this whole bug, this new bug. But to answer, I believe it was Melinda's previous question, there will always be conspiracies because of the types of people that are out there. There is always going to be a group of people that have absolutely zero trust within anything or anybody, and will look at a situation and always find a flaw, and in some cases a reasonable flaw at that. I mean, I've heard many things. You said something about the whole the 911 deal. Yes, there were a lot of things with that as well. They could, people were saying something about holograms and all that good stuff. I mean, look, people get very inventive, and at the same time, not everybody sees things the same. It's the same thing with true crime and all of that too. It's like the way that, say, a psychopath looks at the world versus us normal people. To him, to go out and take somebody out and do the cruel, insane things that he or she does, to them, that's normal. That's just like their normal way of thinking, normal way of processing things. So when certain people look at different events that happen, and especially when they say didn't have boots on the ground or aren't a government insider or something like that, it's very easy for somebody to question the credibility of any situation that has happened throughout the world. I mean, same thing like with I do the same thing with a lot of our history. I don't know about you, Chris, but I know back in the day in my world history classes and all that, when I was in school many decades ago, and regular school, high school, and all that stuff, we were taught that human civilization was only between like 5,000 and 8,000 years old. But here I have personal friends of mine that are archaeologists that have found remains of civilizations that can date back 200+ thousand years ago. Like off the coast of Japan, there's a whole community that was carved out, like these buildings that were carved out of solid granite or some other kind of stone, and 90-degree angles and all that. But yet there were those in the mainstream that had passed it off as natural formations. Well, I'm sorry, natural formations don't carve doorways and steps in 90-degree perfect, corners in such, solid stone. So the point is, yes, you're always going to have people out there that have the ability to pass their own judgment on things, and they come up with these creative ideas about how everything is a conspiracy. So, and that's just, we have many good parts about having such access to the internet and social media and all that, but that's kind of the other end of it. It offers everybody the capability of putting their own theory out there about these situations. So, yeah.
Definitely. Do you think that Trump has downplayed things a little bit? I'm just seeing one of the comments in chat, and I have heard of people on the news sort of saying that Trump maybe didn't take it as seriously as he should have done early on. Do you think that's a fair comment or not?
I'm sorry that I was laughing. I'm sorry, but I got to go back a little bit. In 2016, when I had cast my vote, I actually voted for the lesser of two evils because I didn't like either one of them. But I'll be honest with you, I can remember as far back in the Reagan days. Okay, I'm kind of showing my age there, but I can remember, a lot of different commander in chiefs, our presidents and all that stuff. So when he first came on, of course, anything that could be said and done against him was done. And bringing that to current date, and here's an update for many who may have just followed the mainstream only that they don't like putting out there. But way back in January, okay, he put a stop to all the incoming flights from China. He had put a travel ban against them because he had already had word about this virus. Now, mind you, it's very easy to cast stones about this situation when, it took, that country, that Asian country over there a long time to put the word out about what this was. But even under penalty of being put in jail, they told their own doctors and any kind of medical care workers to keep quiet about all of this this new bug that was going on. So It took them 2 to 3 weeks just to get the word out. Now, bringing that up to speed to here in the United States with President Trump, he had put that travel ban in place. And I can remember literally the day that he had made the announcement that you had people like Biden and many others that were calling him a xenophobe, a racist, that it was a racist move. And then, like clockwork, all the Mockingbird mainstream media types, CNN, MSNBC, all them. Oh, yeah, yes, racist, this, that, the other, down and all that stuff. But it's just totally incorrect because, again, it's another beautiful part of the internet. We have the ability to keep these things recorded and keep these clips of history. And the fact is that he started raising the alarm bells way back then. And he put a stop to all incoming flights from China. He put a ban on any, travel to and from and all of that stuff. But unfortunately, because it was already kept hidden over and out of the country, it had already at that point started spreading like wildfire. Because let me also put this out there that I've also seen certain mainstream websites starting to erase from their video streams and all that stuff. But when this first came out, this was in the middle of their Chinese New Year, which in that province alone, I believe there's 11 million residents that just reside there, people that live there, okay? Then you had anywhere between 40 to 100 million people that traveled into the I might as well say it, I've already said it before, but the Wuhan province, and then had left. So the problem being is now you had all those people that could have possibly been exposed heading out all over the place, to Italy, to Africa, to all these other countries, Brazil. I mean, anywhere you can possibly imagine. And I remember there was another YouTuber, I believe Agenda Free TV is this guy's name. He's been following this also from the very start. And I remember seeing the numbers when the worldwide infected rate was still under at like 20,000. So that gives you an idea. I think now it's approaching 1 million people. But So do I think he's downplaying it? No. Do I think that the mainstream is using this as a good opportunity to bash him in any way, shape, or form? Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. And I'm not all pro. I'm not MAGA, this, that, and the other. Okay. As my mom raised me, I'm all about looking at the deeds of somebody. I'm looking at how and what somebody does for the people. It doesn't even matter. You don't have to be president for that to happen and all. However, I look at the actions of somebody, and so far, from what I've seen, okay, there has been this team of doctors and all types of other scientists and epidemiologists, including to and not limited to adding such agencies as the CDC, and even conferring with the WHO, the World Health Organization. And so if that isn't being proactive, then look at also what happened when this started blowing up as it did, from when the first passed in Washington, I believe it was somewhere, Seattle or somewhere in Washington on the West Coast. He was almost immediate at putting certain restrictions in place and immediately mobilized the local CDC to check into what had happened, why it happened, and what they were going to do about it. And again, I can remember, and this is not me, please, anybody that naysays or thinks I'm making this stuff up, please look into it. Back in January, I can't remember the exact date. It was either middle of January, it might have even been as the beginning of the third week in January, was when he put that travel ban in place concerning China. But again, remember, infections and illness and sickness, they do not discriminate. These little viruses and all, they don't care who you are. Tall, short, skinny, big, black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. Okay. It will come for you no matter what. So by the time that the news made it here to the United States, the damage was already done. And I'm not placing total blame with them and all that, but I do believe that their government over there could have done a heck of a lot more to put this out there. And even ABC, of all people, I had saw this back in January, as a matter of fact. It was either January 1st or February. ABC had put out a mini documentary about how and why that they had kept it a big secret. And it disgusted me, and it aggravated me, because here we were again. I started immediately thinking back to how H1N1 was handled. Okay. And if people look back at that regime that was in place at the time, they didn't act until over 1 million people, to my understanding, got infected, and well over, I can't remember if it was 1,000 people had passed away, but it was very, very, I don't know, it was very alarming to me. So again, if he is downplaying by assembling some of the best and brightest minds that our country can offer, and even those abroad, and going up into whichever network will air the task force, what they put out there each and every day. Okay, then I don't know what else to call that then. If you want to call that downplaying, then hey, fine, by all means, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. But otherwise, I guess I'm not going to influence your belief system in any way, shape, or form. But JD, or actually that's Diane. Hey, Diane, by the way. I hope they stop those two, but is even a lot of some of my associates and other people much smarter than I have said, it's very hard to break tradition with people. This has been a part of their culture for so many millennia, eons for that matter. I mean, they've been doing this type of thing for thousands of years. So the likelihood that they are going to stop that kind of thing, a friend of mine just sent me a video the other day showing some of their population eating live bats and live mice.
A lot of it's to do with medicine, isn't it? Like Chinese medicine and all that kind of stuff. Is that?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right, Chris. And I'm sorry to blab on. I feel like I'm cutting you off.
No, that's all right. You've obviously researched this, and obviously know quite a lot of how it all started. But
yes, you're correct.
I mean, everyone's pointing the finger at China, which I think is kind of right, because that's where all these things have originated from. Like you say, SARS, MERS, all of the viruses seem to have come from that same province, even.
Yes, a lot of it has to do with food preparation. It really does, because a lot of these a lot of these viruses reside within the gastrointestinal systems, and in some cases within the circulatory systems of these smaller critters and rodents and all that they are known to eat. But when you look at the history and the culture of China, okay, they do have some very strong beliefs in different animals containing good antibiotic and antiseptic type of properties, and things that help for their day-to-day life. Like, they sell products and items over there the people I know here would be very, and even there would be very appalled by. I mean, they sell private parts of animals and all of that. They sell certain things, that delicacies that would make you and I just cringe.
Yeah, they eat some crazy stuff, that's for sure.
But hey, what? It's just, it is what it is. And again, like I said, it unfortunately, unless if there's some kind of national ban or something along those lines, or heavy penalties placed against them, or something along those lines, it's highly, highly unlikely that they will ever stop that. Because again, it's ingrained in their culture. So you're asking a whole country of people to change what they've believed in their whole lives. So I doubt that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I can see your point there. Definitely. Well, thanks for the information. It's certainly seem to know your stuff.
Oh, you're very welcome, and I appreciate you giving me a little bit of time to come up here. But I did want to end with, again, I can't stress it enough. Anybody that needs to reach out, please do so. If you're feeling overwhelmed or overstressed, there are plenty of resources out there that will help you to get you through these kinds of times. And trust, if your area stores are, bare right now and all that, this is just the panic session. Okay. People will get over this, and they sooner than later will realize they have more than enough stock. So trust me, I've been in contact with hundreds of different stores, and I promise you, the trucking routes, they are not slowing down. The deliveries are not slowing down. If anything, in many cases, they have double manufacturing, or they've bumped up their manufacturing by double, and even had certain liquor store or liquor production manufacturers and whatnot that have changed over to creating and making like sanitizers. And you have others that are now creating masks and all that stuff. And I'm sorry, I know what you get off here, but I wanted to put one more example out there. I know most people know that pillow guy that's out there, the guy that sells the My Pillow. Okay, this is how deranged some people have gotten. They started throwing heat at this guy for going up on that task force meeting that they had the other day, after he committed parts of his manufacturing to change over to make face masks for doctors and everybody, that may need them. And they started throwing heat at him because I guess he wasn't, good enough, or because he had said one too many things about people reading their Bibles and believing in scripture or having faith during this, most hard of times. Again, that's another example of, it's why sometimes you got to turn off the mainstream and just believe in yourself, look to your families, look to others. This will pass. I promise you. And when I get back in chat, I'll even leave my email for anybody that wants to reach out. If you do find yourself hard up for something else, or you're in need of whatever it is, believe me, within my prepper community, we have 30,000 plus people. So I can honestly say that if I don't have something or a necessity that somebody needs, I'm sure I'll know somebody else that will. So I'm putting that out there. If anybody is in need in any way, shape, or form, please let me know, and we'll try to help you out.
That's great. Thanks. Yeah, I'm sure that'd be most appreciated. So the bottom line is, don't panic, guys. I think that's that's just that's a sensible way to put it, isn't it? Just people don't panic, just be sensible, and like you say, this will pass. We will get past this.
Absolutely. And thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate it.
That's okay. No worries at all. Thanks for coming on. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, I think we've all got to agree, really, haven't you? It's just not to panic. And what can we do? It's just take it day by day, and see what happens day by day. Statistics aren't going to be good, obviously, for a while. It's going to get worse, but it will get better. I do apologise because we missed the. I know some of you did nip out and clap for the NHS, or the healthcare workers. So. Sorry, I went a bit over. I just saw some of you saying that you had to dip out. So yeah, absolutely. Don't sit here, listen to us, get out and clap for those workers. I know some of you did, so that's great. I don't know if they're doing that in other countries or whether that's just doing that over here. But yeah, it's going to be every week now, isn't it? I think Thursday, 8 o'clock. It's to clap for the healthcare workers. So fair play, you know. They're out on the front line, aren't they? So right, okay, I've gone over 2 hours. Time does fly. There's True Helper's email. So yeah, very kindly offering help for anyone. So please take him up on that if you're worrying about anything or in need of anything. I'm sure he'll be able to help. Right, okay, so I'm going to hop off. I'll say I'll probably might do a few of these over the next week, just for anyone who's got nothing else to do. They've cleaned the house, they've from top to bottom, and they've done all the chores that they need to do, and they've got nothing else to do, and they're going completely insane. Then why not come on here and tell us all about it? So, but I'm going to be we'll be talking about some crimes and stuff as well. So we can mix things up a little bit, do what we need to do. But yeah, thanks for everyone for popping by. Thanks to Kimberly for looking after you. I think she probably had to leave a bit early. I know she was at lunch. Thanks to True Helper for looking after you as well and for coming up. Thanks to Helen for coming up on panel as well. Yeah, I can't actually see you as a wrench, True Helper, in StreamYard. It's weird. It doesn't show you as having wrenches. It's a bit bizarre. It doesn't quite bring everything across from YouTube. It's very strange. But yeah, I like that comment from Helen. It's like asking the British to stop drinking tea, talking about the Chinese asking them to stop eating bats and stuff. It's quite true, actually. I mean, it just never happened, would it? If we were asked not to drink tea, it's just not going to happen. They say it's tradition. Thousands and thousands of years tradition, unfortunately. Just hope they can improve the hygiene standards. I think that'd be the answer. Right, okay, thanks everyone. I'm going to stop waffling on. So take care until I speak to you again. And look after yourself, stay safe. And I will speak to you again soon.